Good evening and welcome for the very last time concerning Naruto to the Team 7 podcast. Here we are once again for the very last time. It's a sad day, but it's also a happy day because here we are at the end of Naruto. This is the whole reason we started this, so that we could get to the end, so that we could all talk about it and be caught up and no spoilers. So a lot of mixed emotions, but we're covering episodes 484 through 500, 17 episodes to round us out. Let's start with Sasuke's redemption arc, as we like to call it. What did y'all think?
I wasn't a big fan of when it first started, because it's a bunch of new characters too. I was not ready for that. I wanted more time with the old characters. So I had that going in my head going into it. But overall, I like that arc. I really do.
Yeah, it's nice. I like it.
He did it all with one arm too. Why? Just wait 1 week, bro.
For sure.
Stupid.
He doesn't have an arm even now. In caught up Boruto manga, he's still one arm in it.
That's so tremendously stupid.
It really is, but also he does some disgusting stuff that you're like, and he's got one arm.
Sure.
Nice.
I definitely agree with Asher that the new characters was not what I was expecting after, being the end of the war and wrapping up the show. It's like, hey, here's some new people that you've never heard of. But after that arc is done, they weren't people I wanted to know more about either at the same time. So it wasn't that much of a consequence. But overall, I was definitely thankful of context for the, atoning for his sins and that whole theme that we left off with last week. Or it's just, I appreciated it when it was over.
It did also kind of feel like the writers were like, hey, zombies are big in the world right now. Let's do zombie thing.
Yeah, I can't remember who Kishimoto wrote that with. I'd have to look it up.
The Walking Dead guy?
Yeah, he did with Rick. But that...
Coral.
It's my favorite British redneck right there. Andrew Lincoln.
What a guy.
British redneck, what a name. What a term.
Man, that's true. I also didn't want to know they're such forgettable characters, but the story itself was good. I mean, and there was an Uchiha thing in there. They basically oppressed those people, right?
Yeah, and what was that called? What was that called?
Keke Genkai.
The Chin.
Not
I can't
wrong.
remember. Chin. Did you write it down, Asher? It's the Chinaway. Something like that.
Oh, yeah. Her eye thing?
Yeah, that. Her family name.
Ah, frick. It's in here somewhere. Dude, I made too many notes and I knew I wasn't going to find anything in here.
Who are you talking about?
The girl with the blood red eyes?
Yeah, it's a different...
See, that's how forgettable it is. Lance doesn't remember.
Yeah, I didn't watch all of these episodes. I skimmed through some stuff, but
Chinoike.
Yeah, because she's called Chino, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, she has a different Keke Genkai that is really genjutsu based, and they're doing some sort of genjutsu on these people that allows them to something from her clan allows them to basically make people explode. It's really quick and not fleshed out super well.
Yeah, I honestly do not remember this.
Yeah, I mean it's honestly rather forgettable, besides the fact that you'd see a lot of development in who Sasuke is and the way he treats people.
Yeah.
Because rewatching this, I was like, man, this feels like filler. Like the characters feel like filler because it's just forgettable. It's not surprising that you don't remember Lance, but
doesn't ring a bell.
I'm sure
it was cool though,
and it would come back.
Yeah, it was cool at the end when they went back to he went back to the like fighting arena for all the rich, and like there was even justification there where they got arrested, and he took out every single one of them by himself with one arm, and like just sent them, to help rather than be, in captivity somewhere. It was like a win-win-win. Sasuke's, doing better in life. He's being, he's understanding like hearts and emotions more, and he's helping out these people that were, enticed into this world of just trying to like make a living doing something.
And we don't see that. Like Sasuke's not doing any of that before this arc. Right. Like not a chance. He's not trusting people. He's not like he trusts Chino and whatever they named him. Fushin is his real name, but what'd you say his name was?
I just said Fushin, but
yeah, Fushin. Yeah. And we see some cool stuff from Sasuke, like ability wise. We see some cool like reverse genjutsu work on him. I love that they do that whole thing where he gets hurt by Chino, and then he comes out of it, and he's like, "So this is what your plan was," and then just like destroys her, but doesn't kill her. Like, yeah, I think that's it's cool to see that development. And going into like, well, next you guys will watch Naruto the Last, and the timeline's kind of hairy here with like from these last 17 episodes to like Naruto the Last. Like there's some things that kind of get shifted around as far as like when they happened for the sake of like the anime. But like if you were to read the source material of like Shikamaru's light novel, like that's what his stories derive from. That happens like at a different point in time than what it's told in the anime, but because we're finishing out Shippuden, they just were like, and never mind, it happens before this. And it's not a huge deal, but it's just because the timeline between the end of Naruto Shippuden, like whenever Naruto and Sasuke fight in the Final Valley, and then like the first chapter of Boruto, that gap of time is really ambiguous. So it doesn't break anything, but you guys may notice in Naruto the Last, you're like, wait, how does this kind of all line up? But I didn't want to have us watch Naruto the Last before we finished the anime because it just wasn't really quite worth it. But I say that to say that having this arc of Sasuke before that movie will give you a lot of appreciation for Sasuke in that movie.
Gotcha. Cool.
Love that.
I liked that there was some communication with the Kage too, and I was a little cloudy there. Like, did Sasuke send for them directly, or I'm guessing he did that through Kakashi or something? But it's just cool that he like thought that far ahead.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's kind of just assumed that he used his hawk to like communicate with the Hidden Leaf, because, well, and I guess not so much assumed because the Raikage even says that like Kakashi came and basically like was like, hey, you're close to this land, you need to deal with this Colosseum.
That's right. Yeah.
So because I don't think Sasuke really has the rapport to do that. Like a lot of people definitely have not forgiven. I mean, it was brought up several times in the arc, like, how are you still walking around? You've done atrocious things and you walk freely. But that's the power of love, baby.
So does Orochimaru. But I liked that the Raikage got to tell Sasuke that Naruto like basically begged him to forgive him before all this.
Yeah.
And then he gets the letter from Naruto, and he's like, "It's illegible. Has to be Naruto."
Yeah. Is this from Kakashi? No, the writing's bad.
One of the coolest pieces of Sasuke's redemption arc is at the end when he's talking to Chino and she comes from the darkness to the light and spreads that even further, of like telling other people that knew her before that moment, like, Sasuke's the reason I'm doing this. And it's like a ripple effect from Naruto, just kind of pushes out like this, hey, peace can be attained if we all work for it together rather than letting us just succumb to our frustrations or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was the nail in the coffin for like, yeah, Sasuke's on the right path.
Yeah.
So another thing that we saw in this arc is Naruto's redesign. To show that time has passed. He was not given glasses. He was giving a terrible haircut.
Terrible.
The worst look so far.
He's got a terrible look, man. And then wait until you see him in Boruto, and you're like, man, my boy Kishimoto decided he hates Naruto.
No.
I disagree. I mean, I haven't seen Boruto, but I don't think he looks that bad.
Listen, so here's the problem. There are fan edits of like Naruto's character design is one haircut change away from being badass. And I completely agree. What Naruto is wearing looks sweet. I like the new headband because they don't really like talk about this a ton, but the headbands kind of changed from like a bandana, like what you see behind me here, like where it's just like a strap and you tie it together, to something that is like more of like a headband that you would see like a basketball player wear almost, where it's like one size fits all, just like kind of goes over your head without knotting it. It's just a band. But it's the short hair. It's if Naruto was to keep longer hair, and I can send you guys some of these pictures that I'm talking about later, but man, it could just be so much better. I think like Naruto, his hair is the main problem for me. And I think if it was really longer and not even so spiky as much as like it would got a little bit longer and started to fall over his headband, like, and here's the problem: Boruto, and especially or not part 1 Boruto, part 2 Boruto, like Twin Blue Vortex is the name of part 2. At least in the manga. I don't know. The anime hasn't been started yet, but his hair is what you wish Naruto's hair looked like at this point in this arc specifically. And I can send you guys that and probably get away without some spoilers. But man, it's a miss for me. It's not the worst. Like, it's not like a deal breaker, but it's a miss.
Are you saying show us Boruto's picture? And that would
like I could show you like Boruto from part 2 without like giving you any like big spoilers.
Gotcha.
Because at the post-credit scene of the final episode, he's like shaking Boruto's hand to be like, coming next.
Right. And that Boruto has a terrible haircut. Like, gotcha. I mean, I can show you that right now.
Also, how did Boruto inherit literally 0 traits from Hinata?
How did Naruto inherit 0 traits from his mom?
It's true.
Yeah.
But his sister, Karin, got that red hair.
Asher wants Karin to be Naruto's sister so bad. I don't know if this is... Can we talk about Himawari, you think, Lance?
No, don't do it. I don't want any Boruto spoilers.
I mean, no like specifics, just like the way she looks.
I don't want to know who that is.
I wouldn't even bother. Just let him watch it.
Yeah. Okay. We'll watch it.
I will say, I understand the hate, Logan and Asher. Lance hasn't voiced his opinion yet. But
it looks horrible.
I guess I'm just in the minority, but also understand I prefer short hair. So like, I have no hair, honestly. Like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, he's grown up. Like not that people that have long hair aren't grown up. I'm not saying that at all.
I get what you're saying.
I'm just saying they're trying to like
They're living in
convey
the past.
a professionality to him now. Like he's taking this Hokage journey seriously. He's trying to clean up and like I don't know. It just
he's the first.
Kakashi's hair is freaking awesome.
Sure.
How about this? Every Hokage has had long hair. Let me say that.
Sure. I'm not saying that's like a bad reason. I'm just saying the first time I saw that new look, my gut reaction was, "Oh, cool! This is cool look."
You're too optimistic. And I'll go back. Not every Hokage, third Hokage didn't have long hair, but the other 5 did.
Did Toby Rama?
Yeah, right.
It's not like long.
It's like Kakashi long.
Yeah, it's longer than what Naruto's is. Or ends up
he had that Guy Fieri head.
Yeah,
the longest out of every Hokage has been Hashirama, longer than Tsunade.
Yeah,
started it all.
Amazing.
Well, yeah. So we finished that arc with Sasuke, and then we move on to our boy Shikamaru. And this is derived from a light novel. So if you were to go read this source material, it reads like a book. There's no art.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And Kishimoto helped write that. There's another. I stopped looking it up halfway through so I could continue this conversation. But there was another author that helped him kind of like write this. It's different to write like a novel as opposed to drawing manga and writing that story. So I would imagine that was why he was there to kind of like help that story flow well. But it's a short book. I mean, it's maybe in print, maybe like 120 pages. That's a guess.
Gosh.
That's just a guess. It could be off, but pretty short. It's about the same size as like these manga books behind me. It looks the exact same as these, but it's just like I said, just a novel. So worth checking out. I mean, obviously you guys just watched the story, but maybe somewhere down the road you want to like check it out and see how it compares or whatever. But
I feel like reading that would be a novel idea.
You're the worst. So, as punishment for that, why don't you take us through the story of Shikamaru's story, a cloud drifting in the silent dark. We open up with Shikamaru and Kakashi telling him, and what's that dude's name? Gosh, what's that guy's name? It's something...
Choji?
I don't know. He tells them that they need to take a break. Huh?
Forgettable?
His name's
Ro?
Forgettable.
Was it Ro?
No, Ro's one of his bodyguards. It's
That's the Anbu guy.
Oh, Soku and Ro.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Man.
But
is he like supposed to be like an intern? Like
I guess
kid,
so.
Yeah.
Where he's like you act like an old man. Yeah.
Which has always been true.
100%.
Because we have never met him before this episode that we were introduced to him, right? Yeah.
Correct.
I assumed that, but I didn't know if he was like a classmate that we just never spent time with or what.
No, and it's weird. I saw a post about this the other day that was talking about how the numbers of the shinobi don't really line up because we see like in Naruto's class alone coming out of the academy, there's only 9 of them. 12 you can't count the other 3 because Neji, Lee, and Tenten are a year older than them, so we don't actually know how many are in their year. But 9 for a class is like nothing. Like how are so many shinobi out there if they're only graduating 9 a year, unless their class was just extremely small comparatively.
Or were there more? Because like in flashbacks, there's definitely more kids around. So either they didn't graduate because they were truants, or did they graduate and they all do just like D-level missions now and we don't hear about them?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Lore Master can
Kirby
help us there on our last episode, but Yeah, I'm not really sure that, but it kind of threw me through a loop. I was like, wait a minute, that's right. It doesn't add up because the guy that I saw on Reddit that did this did the math, and it was like going to take like an astronomical amount of years to populate the 80,000 that they talk about at the like if you had taken 80,000 and divided it up amongst the 5 great nations, and then did that, it would take like so many years to be able to get formidable shinobi to be able to fight in the war. And these aren't all like outstanding shinobi. These are just like shinobi that are like eligible to go fight. So he did the math and it was like, doesn't math, but it's just one of those things that it would be crazy to try to follow like an entire class, but 9 feels a lot more manageable, but we're never really told if there's others or not.
Right.
But I mean, is 9 like, is there not like a team 1? Because we have team 8. That would mean 12.
Right.
Good point.
See, I don't know. And I don't really know how like 7 is designated or 8. Like we have team 10 is, and like why is the year before them team 10? Like we have team 8, which is Shikucho. We have team 7, which is us. And then we have team.
Wait, no.
No, 9 is Lee,
3.
Neji, and Tenten. And then Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji is team 10.
I said 8 times 3 is 12. Just
it's 24.
That.
Or wait, no, 8 times 3.
I said we have team 8, so there should be 12 at least.
Well, at least. I mean, you weren't wrong. There should be at least 12.
True.
I think the way that I've always watched this and thought about it is just that in the early days of making something like this, I think some arbitrary decisions get made, and then you have to sort of backfill the meaning or the how. I think this is probably one of those things. I think he probably just gave the teams like numbered names. It was like, that's cool. And then at a certain point it's like there needs to be more people, but you can't follow a cast of a bajillion characters.
So kind of already that many,
Yeah,
there are a lot of characters. And we'll talk about that too. Favorite character at the end of the series now. Take us through Shikamaru's story there, Ashy.
I don't remember any of it. I just like at the end where he's basically like,
you do too.
He kind of lets it slip that he enjoys that Tamari calls him on his bullshit. And that's when my heart melted and I forgot everything that happened up to that point. And I was like, yes, it's finally happening. And then Sai and Ino get together out of nowhere, which was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Did you guys expect that at all? Like, I really felt like that was so out of left field. I mean, knock off Sakura and knock off Sasuke getting together does kind of make sense.
That's the only reason why like I could see it happening.
Yeah.
And because back when Sai was the new team member of 7, Ino was like trying to go after him at the beginning, but like he was mysterious and all that. And Sakura like was like, oh, should I like him too? Even though I like Sasuke. But Sasuke's gone.
They were
kids.
And
then it's like, yeah, they were kids. So it makes sense to have that callback in a sense. But I honestly wasn't expecting the couples to form at the end at all. So,
yeah. Well, Shikamaru's story is it's cool to get to spend time with him because we love Shikamaru, but it's really just kind of sandwiched in between. Like Sasuke's was so like, what now for Sasuke? We even talked about that last week. Like, what now? We spent so much time with him. It's been like one thing after the other of him wanting to do evil. Now he says he wants to do the opposite. And how does that formulate? So that I think shines. And then Shikamaru is a good sandwich in between that and then the perfect day for a wedding arc, which is the final arc of the series. And that arc is just a bunch of rainbows and butterflies and just bowing up a bunch of stuff. And I like it a whole lot.
The wedding arc?
Just all of it, like from 494 all the way to 500. Like we spend time with each character, kind of getting like everything, sealed up, and like one last look at everybody, and just like tying up loose ends. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And we get some really sweet stuff with Iruka.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was totally worth it.
Yeah,
I think the thing that, like, I appreciate it as it is. Like, I don't hear me say I'm like upset with the ending, because I really do enjoy the time we spent with Shikamaru. I think it was, he's a character that we all love, and everyone agrees like Shikamaru is not on a bad list ever across the board, kind of like Naruto, which could be controversial. But I wish we were given, like, just like we got with Shikamaru and Tamari, their like unfolding of their relationship. I wish we saw that with Hinata and Naruto as like,
yeah, weird to skip.
We went from the Shikamaru arc to there's a wedding, and it's like, when did that happen? You know what I mean? And don't hear me say I wasn't grateful for what we were given, because I am. But I do wish we got to see more of the like Naruto actually like asking her to marry her, because it's been hinted at since the Pain arc,
Sure.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from with a lack of payoff. Sorry, Asher.
No, you're fine.
Of not being able to see that moment, but I think my only counter would be that the unfolding of their love between each other is the whole show. It's just that neither of them were actually chasing that necessarily, or in that way. Hinata obviously is like, infatuated from the start,
smitten.
But I think the unfolding of their own love story is actually happening for the whole show. But yeah, I agree with you that it sucks to not be able to see that moment of the two of them being like, or acknowledging it between each other. But again, probably not a spoiler. Some of that I think will be redeemed in the stuff that you watch and read from here, including Naruto the movie, but also in Boruto as well. So,
well, that's like, yeah. And remember how I told you guys like the timeline of some things gets like hairy. One of the biggest plot points of Naruto the Last is that what you're talking about, Zach.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
cool.
So it gets its own little thing. So hold out some hope. You'll get it. Now that you know that they get married, it's not really a huge spoiler. So you get some follow up on some Otsutsuki stuff. And then you get a whole bunch of Naruto and Hinata finding out, okay, like, let's make this official. So
yeah. And that's what I was saying, because like even Ino was like, oh, they're the first ones to do it. Like, I didn't even think about that. It's like, why would Naruto be the first one to think about that? Right. So yeah. Glad that's answered though.
Yeah. Same.
And since we're not going to do a podcast on that movie, I mean, it's on Netflix. It's on Netflix, but I don't know if there's somewhere else to play it. It might be on Plex. If it's not, we can talk to Khan about it. But it's definitely worth the watch.
We should stream it and do a watch party.
Can we do a watch party with Netflix?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Plex.
I know you can with Hulu.
Wow.
Yeah. And watch them add. I saw an article like 2 weeks ago that was talking about they're going to add the rest of Naruto's dub by
perfect.
The beginning of like early 2025.
Oh, okay. It's still a while.
Yeah. I mean, there's only 50 episodes that they've yet to add. So I don't know how they're like going to string that out, because they were adding in pretty large batches.
I still
don't know why I just jogged my memory of this, but Netflix has now officially caught up to week releases for One Piece. So now they are like a definitive place to watch all of One Piece.
There's stuff missing though, because the arc that I'm in, and I'm around episode 400, There is manga canon that's just not on Netflix.
Really?
So there's like old stuff that's not on there, unless they fixed it and it was just some like glitch or something. But I was like, that's weird that it's not here.
Crunchyroll is the best place for that, I think, because they have the official release like upon like they have a simulcast. So like once it comes out in Japan, it's out on Crunchyroll. But they also have the dub up to like 900 and something. I can't remember how far.
Wow.
So if you've got a Crunchyroll subscription, that's the place to catch it.
That's it's a couple episodes right there.
Yeah.
So to continue talking through Shikamaru's thing, I think the plot devices were good, and it's definitely setting up that there's more. Maybe not big bad. It's not Kaguya or Madara type stuff, but it's like, hey, there's still stuff going on in the world that this story needs to continue. And part of that, I was like, okay, that's convenient. But it's also like, I mean, once the fourth Great Ninja War is over, it's like the rest of the evil of the world is going to rear its ugly head. Because Orochimaru is sure on his bullshit in the Hidden Leaf, and he's not going to be a big bad. We don't think. So I did kind of like that. And I also like that Shikamaru, like we got to see his strategery more too. And we got to see sweet moments with like Kurenai and what's the name of their kid? I don't know.
Mirai.
Yeah. And then he goes to talk to like his dad and Asuma. Rough, my guy.
Yeah, dude,
rough.
Yeah.
It was good. I really liked it.
Yeah. It was satisfying to finally get some time with the one person I wanted more time with throughout the whole show.
Yeah.
Without going into filler, you know? I'm sure there was some arcs that were Shikamaru centric, but he's such a pivotal player that played the background most of the show. You know, like a lot of decisions and strategies and just mentalities in the crew of the guys that graduated together were formulated by Shikamaru. Like he is such a key component to this group of friends.
Yeah.
And to see him get recognition for that as being the right-hand man to the Hokage, I didn't even see it as like a oh well, I know Kakashi needs someone he can trust type thing. Like it was like, no, he's impressive. Like he's gonna be able to tell me. Yeah, he's gonna be able to tell me what I need to know when I need to know it. And his dad obviously left a legacy for the family name and all that. So like it's very satisfying to see Shikamaru end up where he did. It's honestly one of my favorite pieces of the batch, regardless of what I said before with the Hinata and Naruto stuff. Like it was so satisfying to watch all that.
Yeah. No, I agree. And he is a pivotal player in Boruto as well. Very, very important character throughout all of Boruto. Now, don't hear me say that and think you're getting like Shikamaru only arcs. But you're getting arcs where Shikamaru is like vital. Like the story doesn't progress without him.
Heck yeah.
So definitely a character that Kishimoto has favored in his storytelling. But now that you guys are getting caught up, there's some other stuff that I forgot to tell you about. Like we talked about it a few podcast episodes ago, that we had some options as far as like some other content. About this time last year, maybe a little bit over a year ago, Kishimoto, for the 25th anniversary, I believe it was, he wrote a one-shot manga. And a one-shot is like, you get this one chapter. Like, that's it. It tells the full story. Like, boom, there you go. Now, some other one-shots have been turned into, have been like expounded upon. I don't know if that's the word, expanded into more. And there's an arc in Boruto that is listed as filler, but I'll point it out for you guys. But it's listed as filler because it's not like the story of Boruto, but it happens. I think I maybe have told you guys about this, but it surrounds Sakura and Sasuke and their love and some other stuff, and it was derived from a one-shot, and it's incredible. But this 25th anniversary one-shot was taken from a vote that actually I voted it. I don't know if Lance, I don't know if you voted in this or not, but
I didn't know about the voting thing until it was too late, but it is really cool.
So I can't remember who I voted for, but Minato ended up winning, which Kishimoto even said that was a big shock for him. He wanted it to be... I can't remember who he said he wanted it to be, but I'll have to look that up. But Minato ended up winning, so he wrote a story about Minato. And you guys could actually go read that one shot like right now and not have any sort of spoilers at all. You guys would be, because obviously Minato has already passed by the time we even start Naruto. So it's worth reading. But I don't know if they're going to end up animating that or not, but that's another option. And then also there's a Steam Scrolls, like Ninja, the Steam Scrolls, something like that. And it surrounds Kakashi, Guy, and Mirai. Asuma's daughter.
Yes, please.
And that has like 13 chapters or something like that. It's a little bit more fleshed out. There's actually a few like manga book releases of it, at least 3, I believe. But that's also worth reading. So there's other stuff out there that is like canon in the Naruto universe that isn't Naruto or Boruto like centric, which I think is really cool. So worth checking out. But yeah, Shikamaru is still as vital as ever and updated to like even now Boruto. So
heck yeah, cool.
Keep trucking along. And I encourage you guys, like, please, like watch other stories, like watch other anime that piques your interest. Anime is kind of like Rule 43. Only Boruto. Like you really can, like, if it's out there, like if you can dream it, it's out there, which is concerning. But I truly believe that if you are interested in anime at all, that you can find a subgenre that is like basically made for you.
Yeah, I told you all about Ping Pong. You still haven't watched it. That's right. You all would love Ping Pong. Very short too.
It's on my watch list, and now that we're rounding this out, I'm planning on knocking out some other like stories. So yeah, but I say that, but also in the same vein, like, please, I know Lance and I would love for you guys to get caught up on Boruto. And I've talked so much shit about Boruto in the past, but part 2 is seriously shaping up. And Lance, please tell me your thoughts on this. But I believe it is shaping up to be worth the shit of part 1.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think I'm a little jaded because I've watched every single episode of that god awful filler that they were airing week in and week out. And now they're moving away from that. I think that in general, anime does better now that's not weekly. Now that we live in an age that we can stream things, that it can go in and out of seasons. I think that they're seeing that can work for Naruto. It doesn't have to have a weekly slot for it to thrive. And Naruto had been on a weekly slot from its initial airing all the way through the end of part 1 of Boruto, which is 720 plus 293. So I mean, that would be like over 1,000 episodes of Naruto, and it truly is almost just as long as One Piece is.
I was about to say, that's crazy,
just with more filler. But if you can either read the manga or get through like just watching the manga canon episodes and getting caught up, I know that Lance and I would really like getting caught up to the manga part 2 of the Boruto story. We would love to have you there with us because it's been pretty lonely. And we'll go like 6 months without reading so that we'll have, because Kishimoto only writes 1 chapter a month. So it takes forever for things to progress. Wow. Yeah. Like in 3 days when the new chapter comes out, I will have to reread the most recent chapter so that I can remember what I read a month ago. I do that every time because it's just so slow. But, that makes it easier for y'all to catch up. But with that, the four of us can continue to talk about it. And, if it gets to the point where we're like, we want to make another, podcast episode about it, then we can. So please check out new stuff. But yeah, don't abandon Naruto.
I don't think I could at this point. Like, I have to know. Like, if there's more story, I have to know what it is. Yeah.
Okay, I love that. That's exactly where Lance and I are at. I think that it is an obligation. And there is an opening scene in the Boruto anime, episode 1, that hooked Lance and I so hard that it is the driver. It's literally been the driver of now we have to know.
Wow.
Yeah. Through all this shit of being like, this is terrible. And I've texted Lance so many times before, like, don't even bother. Don't read it anymore. Like, let's quit. And it's still brought us back in because we're like, we have to know.
Yeah. I think he'll figure out a way to make it worth it in the long run. But I mean, all of the things that we're saying right now and talking about the legacy of what happens after the fact just speaks more to the fact that there's a legacy of the show itself, like of what Naruto and Naruto Shippuden created. So, I mean, that is what it is. And I love it. It makes me really happy that you guys have made it to this point. There's definitely still more fun stuff to watch and talk about, but kind of makes the story even more worth it.
Yeah, for sure. And you get to play the games and stuff now without like fear of spoilers. I mean, you got some Boruto spoilers in there, but like you guys could legitimately, you could buy the newest one, like Ultimate Storm Connections, and really not be like that spoiled, like, because it's so heavy.
There might be like a couple of characters that you don't really know, but other than that, you'd be safe.
See, when stuff like that happens, like there are characters I've heard of for One Piece, and I'm like, I mean, it doesn't matter because the story's so good that once it happens, it's just going to be good. It's not going to be like, oh, I wish I hadn't known that this was a person. Like, I don't know anything about him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. Well, we see Gaara a little bit in the final arc, the Kazekage's wedding. And the coolest thing about Gaara at this point is that his hair is still cool. I'm still
100% agree.
Hair. But I will tell you this as a spoiler. I almost want you guys to Google Gaara Boruto, because my gosh, dude, they made him redheaded. Like, without the mustache, they made him redhead Hitler. Like, it's bad, dude. It's bad. Like, the way he looks, like,
weird.
It's bad.
It's literally Adolf Hitler's haircut.
I'm looking it up right now.
It's tough. It's pretty tough.
Yes, I'm gonna look it up too. I'm gonna look up Adolf Hitler.
While y'all are looking that up, the thing that was spoiled for me before we ever started this podcast was that Shikamaru and Tamari would end up together, and I won't say more than that. But I had Googled something the first time that I had watched through, which was before like any of the podcasts. I watched maybe like 30 episodes, I think, and started Googling some things, and then saw that. And I was like, ooh, I need to stop Googling stuff because I'm going to get a bunch of spoilers, and this is like 700 episodes long.
What an oddly specific spoiler.
Right?
Like, that happened. I mean, the payoff on that was a long ways away from when you found out.
And then part of it was like, this could have just been some fan art or something.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, maybe it's not going to happen.
But good on you for not continuing on your research journey there. It's always better to be surprised.
It's
just not good, man.
Like, what is this?
Scroll down a little.
He looks so much more feminine with that. That's really interesting. Part of that is just the eyeliner too.
I would say more times than not, the character design got worse with Boruto.
Interesting take.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to go back to this wedding stuff for a second because I haven't really revealed this to you all yet. 75% of it, not a fan.
Okay.
Like the whole 7 episodes. I was like, are we going to get to something that's like substantial here?
Oh, right.
And then we would for maybe a quarter of the episode, and we find out Shino might be a good teacher. And it's like, okay, cool. Was it worth it to have to listen to Kiba for 20 minutes to see 3 minutes of Shino discovering himself?
Yeah.
I don't think it was.
No, I agree. Not worth.
I wanted more like meat at the end of this, but like I was okay with it because I knew there would be the movie and the Boruto and things to read. But in the middle of it, I was like, I am not enjoying this.
I really do think that, like, not to build up Naruto the Last, because it's like, I mean, it's not like
it's obviously like, not the last. Spoilers.
It's not. I mean, it's not like this perfect movie that's like gonna satiate every like need of like what you guys are wanting, but it is very good, and I think that it does give that like final like it's like being handed a ribeye at the end of this and being
closure.
Like, okay, there you go.
Closure.
Thank you. I could not find the word. Like, it is the closure that you guys are wanting.
I'd rather have steak.
I'd rather have a New York strip, honestly.
Yikes. Dude.
Over a ribeye?
Whoa.
100%.
Why?
Right, that's it. I'm coming up to Knoxville. Oh, I just doxed you guys.
Yeah, sucks for you guys. I don't live in Knoxville anymore. They're gonna find you.
I'm coming up there, and we're gonna eat steak. Well, Asher's gonna have a vegan New York.
Dude, I bought ribeye and cooked it twice in the past month, and it was amazing. I just prefer strip. More meat, less fat. I don't like this filler. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, we'll watch Naruto the Last, and I'll eat steak.
I'm sorry, Zach. Did you not know that about ribeye versus strip? What is this look you're giving me?
Yeah, bro.
I will say that's a worse take than me thinking Naruto's haircut is fine.
It's a worse take than you guys defending Sakura.
I'm so sorry. People can have opinions.
Not dying on that hill.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely correct, Logan. Thank you for saying that.
I like New York strip. Like, I have no problem with it. But, like, ribeye is the cut that I'm choosing every single time, namely for the fat. Like,
that's
if it's
cool, Logan. That's
cut,
called an opinion, just like your opinions about Sakura. And you can keep them to yourselves forever now, for the rest of our lives.
Dude. Now that they're on the internet.
Yeah, you don't have to tell them to me anymore.
Thank God. Get my Tuesday nights back. I know in 2 weeks I'm going to be like, I miss it.
You guys want to play games? We will play games.
I do that every other night anyways.
I miss arguing with the boys about Sakura.
Oh, Zach's mad. He won't talk. He's not even laughing.
I'm not mad.
Zach's mad.
Curious. All right, I'm mad.
Zach's mad.
I prefer Eye of Round, honestly.
Okay, now you can shut up.
I like to
all
buy
the way through.
Yeah, I like that. I like the stew meat. You know, like in the package, it's just a bunch of freaking strips of whatever. You know, just cook that sucker in the crock pot, turn it on high, and let it rip.
I bought a bottle of A1 the other night, and Bree was like, "I'm not gonna let you use that on any good cut of meat." And I was like, I will literally buy a sirloin from Publix just so I can use A1.
Tamari coated.
That's right.
Amazing. You need that slap once in a while.
Well, is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about from the batch specifically? I mean, I know that it's like Asher said, it is like so much like there's nothing substantial enough besides like Naruto and Sakura's wedding. Wait.
I'm sorry, who?
Wait.
Naruto. You wish. God, you love wedding. Sakura.
But
you fantasized about that before we started recording.
That was the actual spoiler he had. He was looking up like fan edits. Does Naruto end up with Sakura? You, dude. Do you think that she should be with Sasuke?
Who?
Sakura.
Sakura.
Huh?
But I'm asking you.
Me?
I'm asking you, do you think that Sasuke and Sakura should be together?
Probably not yet, but like, give them some time.
Whatever, dude.
Maybe.
You just don't want to see true love.
I want to see it blossom. It takes time, you know? He's just going to send her some more hawks, I guess. It's friggin' Harry Potter out here.
Love. You don't get him.
Message for you, sir.
4. You don't understand him.
You don't get it.
Okay, well, if we're done talking about the batch, then I want to talk about some characters.
I just want to talk about how Orochimaru was a great redeeming factor, and Yamato chasing him around too. And
yes.
Lee and Guy walking on their hands 100% of the time. Great.
It's great. Yes. And I love that in the boat in Sasuke's arc, Sasuke says something to Orochimaru to the fact that like, well, you're also free. And he was like, I am not free. And then they cut to Yamato in the boat behind them. He's like, I'm definitely not free. I've got this dude that won't leave me alone. And then at the Coliseum, which was weird, I didn't really pick this up, but Yamato was like, I can't make contact with Orochimaru. And he just like leaves, like right as Orochimaru was walking up to Sasuke. He's like, I can't talk to him. And he just like bounces. So that's interesting. I guess he was given like some sort of order to like follow him around, but never actually talk with him.
Right.
I don't know why. But, and then Orochimaru at another point in that arc says that he said, Kabuto is less likely to turn back to evil than I am. And Sasuke was like, do you really believe that? And he was like, do you not believe in the power of Itachi Uchiha? And I thought that was so funny.
Yeah.
He throws it back at him. He was like, nah, he went through it, dude. The only way he could get out of that genjutsu was to legitimately change.
Right.
Which is crazy. Wow. And it is a little interesting to me that Orochimaru would be allowed to kind of just like continue doing whatever he wants to do, even with a stalker. Because he didn't have some sort of like huge change like that would, or catalyst really, that would like make him not want to do evil. Like the last time that, like when Orochimaru was killed by Sasuke, his plan was still to destroy the leaf. So what changed besides him being like, I want to see where Sasuke's wind goes? Like, first of all, what is that? And secondly, how is that justified as a reason to be like, well, he did have a good, like, integral part in the Fourth Shinobi War. But it was because he was following Sasuke and was like, I just want to see what he's going to do, which doesn't really track for me enough.
I mean, I guess there's evidence that he helped and then he's not doing anything nefarious at this point.
Yeah.
And until he does, then they'll put a stop to it.
Before Orochimaru returned out of the curse mark, though, he mentioned, or after he came back, he mentioned that before he could hear and experience everything Sasuke could. So he saw a lot of the conversations that was making Sasuke question what he was doing as well.
And he was trapped inside of Kabuto and experienced that same thing. So that's a great point, Zach.
What a trip for Orochimaru.
Yeah. So that's a great point. Yeah, I'll concede that. He's obviously had a heart change because he even talks about it. He says, I saw what Kabuto did at the end of the road that we were trying to get to, and it yielded nothing.
and all the Donzo conversations and memories that he was given, and the Itachi conversations once he came back as a reanimated vessel and all that.
Yeah. Now I wonder, because when Orochimaru was pulled out of the curse mark during the fight with Sasuke and Itachi, I wonder if that Orochimaru is the same. Like, does he have because the Orochimaru we see was pulled out of the Reaper Death Seal. So does he have the memory? I mean, I guess we just assume that he does, but does he have the memory and experiences of the Orochimaru that was pulled out of the curse mark? Because that was two different timelines completely, or not timelines, but two different points of time with a lot of space in between. And the one in Kabuto, like he saw all that with Kabuto, does he gain all of that knowledge the same way that like a shadow clone would? Whenever like Naruto loses that shadow clone, he gains all of that knowledge that clone had gained.
My assumption is yes.
Yeah. I mean,
like,
that's the only thing that would make sense.
He is he's the same consciousness in different places at different times.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
He shares all of those things.
There's my understanding that it's in real time too. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not once the clone is gone, it's like he's just absorbing it.
Yeah.
As it happens. That's crazy.
Right. Whereas with Naruto, I think that they've made it very specific that like he doesn't regain that knowledge, or doesn't gain that knowledge until that clone's gone. Right. Because it's two separate consciences, which is weird. But yeah. I like that they utilize that even in the fight with Kaguya. Like he gained the knowledge of one of his clones that had been with Obito and Sakura. Like once that one was gone, it was at some point during that fight. But I like that came back around, because that was something that was introduced in like the second arc of Shippuden, when he was learning about like nature, chakra natures. So let's talk about hottest character.
Tintin?
Yeah, yes. It's something about the buns.
Them buns, hun.
We did this at the end of OG Naruto. We'll do it at the end of this. What is your favorite character? Or who is your favorite character?
Are we talking Shippuden?
All of it. I mean, you could be...
Yeah.
Oh, you could still say, like, nah, OG Sasuke is my favorite character. And, like... Yeah. Doesn't have to be just a name. You can give as much or as little specifics as you'd like.
Sure. I got to think for a second, but I do know, just to give you my process a little bit, Shikamaru's on there. This guy's on there. Kakashi.
For those listening.
Man. I mean, it's hard not to put Naruto on that list too.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
This last batch, it's like, I mean, we didn't see him, which sucks, but I mean...
Yeah, we didn't spend a lot of time with Naruto, like, literally at all. Like, yeah, no, I feel that.
I mean, I feel like maybe we should amend that and say that Naruto is, like, a given, and, like, pick your second.
Sure.
Because, like, he's number one for me, for sure. Like,
okay.
No doubt. Like,
or feel free to give like a top 3 or whatever if you're like.
Yeah. But my reason for saying that though is like, obviously he's the main character, but like after the entire show is done, there's a reason why it's called Naruto and not like Shinobi Council, like the game is, or whatever.
Sure.
Or like, One Piece instead of Luffy, right?
Right.
Like, it is such an entire, like, it's more than just a coming of age story, right? Like, it is so much more than that, and he has so many nuances to his entire being, and past and present, and with Boruto the future, hopefully that kid can live up to the the name of holding the show title. But yeah, it's just Naruto is. Lance told me this forever ago, probably like 4 or 5 years ago. He was like, "It's the greatest story ever told." You know, like as far as fictional stories go, and I would agree with it. Like his entire story is just so unique to anything I've seen before. So yeah, Naruto to me is a given.
I agree. And I love that you feel that way. I love that. I remember being at your all's work, like we had like maybe recorded like 2 episodes so far and talking about it. And you were like, you were in on it. And I remember me and Asher talking. I knew Asher was in like from the get. He was like so obsessed. And Asher and I had spoken. We were like, I wonder if Zach, like, how is Zach really feeling about this? And it became evident as time went on. But now being here at the end, it does make me very happy that you feel that way so strongly to say that it is the greatest fictional story that you've heard. Because I would agree. I mean, this is like for me, this is the bar, and a lot of things fall short, and I expect almost everything to fall short. But everything gets compared to Naruto. Do I feel the same way about characters, or I'll meet new characters in other anime that I'm like, man, that reminds me so much of this character or whatever from Naruto. So yeah, I love that. Very happy to hear that.
Yeah, I feel like I can adopt that because everything I've seen up to this point, both live action and animated, some stuff's great, some stuff's cool, some stuff sucked, but like pretty much all of it's forgettable. Like I feel like I'm always going to like put it through the lens of like how does this compare to, you know, what we went through for these past 2 years almost.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
That made me cry.
So
you promised
for me,
you wouldn't.
Yeah, you did promise. I am going to have to watch for like my 4th time Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood again to see. I mean, there are very obvious differences. That's 60 episodes, I think. It's not quite as much time to tell a story, although before watching Naruto, it felt like that's pretty substantial to have 60 whole episodes to tell the story that it tells. And it's very good. So I don't know that I love it more than that, but it is giving me pause to think like I have to watch it for a 4th time to see like how I feel about it now.
Wait, what are you saying? You don't know if you love Naruto more than Brotherhood?
Yeah, 100%. But I think like it's giving me pause to like I have to go watch Brotherhood again to see
confirm that
which
you
it
still
is.
love Brotherhood more than Naruto.
Which for me is pretty huge because it's so good. But there's also, I mean, what's weird for me looking back is like there's so much more that I want to know from Naruto that it's weird to say, but with this many episodes, there still wasn't enough time to go deeper into certain characters.
Yeah. And
that's the only thing looking back on it that I'm like, man, I just wish there was more. Just more, and it's really just more like information. And we kind of covered that with like the Hinata and Naruto thing, and that we will get some clarity there. But
I think part of that issue comes from the adaptation of it being a graphic novel first.
Sure.
Which is kind of a bummer, and that's why you end up with so much filler too. Like just literally is just to kill time until the actual story comes out. But you end up with all this like, you know, random stuff, and not a lot of the filler is very like character building either. Like it's not like, you know, you're gonna get to delve deeper into Shino's psyche. You know, you're gonna watch him do nothing but fart around for 3 episodes until, you know, Kishimoto's had time to write the next chapter.
Sure. Back to Madara.
So
finally,
I agree. I think that's kind of an issue that's just unique to the I guess, the art form. But but I do feel that as well.
Well, I don't know if you'll
go ahead
real quick, because it's still on topic with Brotherhood too. Like they made a whole Full Metal Alchemist before the manga was done, and it sucked. Like the ending was terrible. They just like had to write an ending for it because it was coming out, and then they had to redo it based on the manga, and it's, you know, one of the top rated of all time. So I get that, and I get like why they did filler, but it's also like, could they have done something more substantial with filler to make us actually want to watch it?
If Naruto started today instead of, you know, 1999, then yeah, I think it would be totally, it would be a completely different strategy.
Yeah.
And it's also like with most shows though, like Attack on Titan, for example, one of the ones that we watched in the middle of this podcast, like there's pieces of that show that I wish they expanded on too. Like I just feel like that's just entertainment in general. Like there's always something that you would want more of in some way.
And I think wanting more is a good thing. Mm-hmm. You know?
I do too.
Because if you continue down that road to no end, like you're eventually going to turn your fan base against you, because it's like you're going to wear them out. And I think that I genuinely believe that happened with Boruto. I believe that it received so much hate because it ended up just wearing people out. Because it wasn't, and we've talked about this on the podcast before, like filler's so limited because you really can't be super definitive without risking double crossing your story. And then there's holes and whatever. And Naruto has no shortage of plot holes. You can go look them up now that you've finished it and piss yourself off if you want. I wouldn't recommend it. I think it's just a bunch of people that are too bored, that they just let it mean too much. Because the way you feel right now, the way that you're like, what plot holes is Logan talking about? Like, that's the point. Like, that's how arbitrary they are. That it doesn't really matter. There's nothing that's story breaking. There's nothing that is so glaringly bad. Like I talked about, like the graduating classes being too small. Like that doesn't, at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. It doesn't take away from the story. It like never once was something you guys were like, wait a second, I hate this story. Like it's just not a big deal. So, but yeah, I do think that there definitely can be like too much and being left with wanting more. And I felt the same way with Attack on Titan. I wanted more. I wanted like a fifth. I didn't want a fifth season. By the time we got to season 4, the final season, part 3, I was like, dear Lord, let it end. But I still wanted more of like season 2, season 3. I wanted to spend more time there. I didn't want the story to continue. I just wanted more information on the world, more time, more canonized time with characters. So I totally agree with that. I think that's a good spot for it to be end to end, because your fan base will always look back and say that was great. And I always wish that there had been just a few more episodes sprinkled in with, you know, the mid seasons or early seasons.
Sure.
So, okay, well, we decided that Naruto is our number one. Let's just say that that's our number one. So who are some other standouts that you're like, man, this character after watching Naruto has cemented themselves as a character that I like will always love? And maybe Lance, you go first.
Yeah, I wanted to wait for you guys to answer first, but before I took over. But I would say if I had to pick a favorite character from like the whole thing, I think I would pick Kakashi. I think he just stayed my favorite the longest.
Yeah.
And Shikamaru probably would be my honorable mention. But I think what ends up making Kakashi my pick is that he has this like really delicate balance of like good and evil. And I think he embodies like the kind of person who handles and carries so much like weighty, heavy darkness and chooses to live on the side of light and do good and help even when he doesn't feel like he's worthy or, good enough to be doing it. And the payoff that he receives from that in the end of all of those good things coming back to him and being a leader and being cherished and loved by the people who know him. Like, I know I'm reading into a cartoon character, but I think I felt all of those things like in him as a character, which ultimately made me probably decide on him as a favorite. So I love that. And I love that you ended up getting to know a little bit more about his story with his dad, and like that whole situation and how that kind of comes back up in the reanimation part of the arc in the war. Man, just so much cool stuff and that he's a part of, and he's just always there for everything. And sometimes he's there at the wrong time or he's there too late, but when he's there at the right times in the show, it wouldn't have gone the right way without him having been there. And it's funny how many times you can look back and remember Kakashi just absolutely being on his last leg throughout the show. Like he just kept giving it his all. He kept putting himself out there. He kept almost dying essentially to protect a bunch of kids. Almost coughed.
Dude, he tanked the whole genjutsu from Itachi too.
Yeah.
Wild. Crazy
stuff. So anyways, that's my soliloquy. I'm going to cough for a second. I love Kakashi. He's great.
Yeah, Kakashi, great choice. I really like him a lot as well. I'm trying to think of some other options. I mean, Itachi for me is, you guys knew that from the get. Like, Itachi has been my favorite. I think he's so cold, bro. I think that, like, it's like what you said, Lance. I think that that's a great way to put it. He carries so much, like, light and darkness and chooses to be on the light side. Yeah. And Itachi, like, I think that his, there's so much neck breaking for his character that it's like, ooh, you thought, like over and over again, even in his fights. But more so in his character of like, oh, you thought that this was the like I talked about last week. Like, we spent a large majority of the second half of OG Naruto with Itachi being the main villain, and that couldn't be further from the truth. And once you go back and you rewatch this, you'll see like, oh, Itachi's not there because he's literally there to appease the Akatsuki, to make sure that he can be the one to keep this going the way that he wants it to be. Like, he's there with this motive that is we're not privy to in the slightest. So yeah, I've got a super like special place in my heart for Itachi, as seen in my my profile pictures and everything. He's this monitor to my left is he's that background too, so he's always just kind of around for me. So I feel like I have to choose him, but there are so many that I absolutely adore, Kakashi being one of them, Sasuke being another. I just really like Sasuke. Like, I like his character. Like, I like his character design and abilities more than I think I like his development, because he frustrates the hell out of me. But because he's so like integral to Itachi's story, I think he's just kind of naturally up there for me as well. Yeah. Kisame. No,
oh my gosh. Black Zetsu.
Yeah, Black Zetsu.
Way
I just
up there.
Love him, dude. But yeah.
I will say, echoing that, like, Itachi really grew the ranks for me, from all the past rankings we've done. And he's a top contender for sure, because like he's the piece of the show that just like seals the understanding that like perspective is huge. Like, you have to hear other sides of the story than just jump into conclusions. Like, there's so much more to what could be the truth than what you might see as the truth or have heard the truth is. Because we were getting the truth from Sasuke, who saw his entire family get killed, but didn't understand the sacrifice that took. both for like being a catalyst for what needed to be done, but also like the sacrifice of his own life, dedicating it to making sure that took place.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't, going out to get ramen anymore. Like that was never a part of his like, fun side of Itachi piece of an episode. We never saw that because like you were given the understanding that like he gave up the creature comforts that we all want for making sure a mission was accomplished, which is just super noble. And that was huge for me as seeing Itachi. But I would still think number one overall is Jiraiya for me. I love his design the most. I think he was always just badass in every sense. And like, we had Iruka at the beginning and then Kakashi. But whenever Naruto was under Jiraiya's tutelage, it was like, could you be a great shinobi? Sure, but like we're gonna make sure this happens. And like I'm gonna like be the catalyst to get you to become a shinobi that people are gonna talk about. Because he saw that in him, both with the prophecy that he, foretold, and later on we find out about the book, which was without that book, the pain arc wouldn't be the same that it was. And even the sacrifice of, Jiraiya going to scout out that whole scenario before everyone else. Everything post the pain arc would be a lot different if Jiraiya didn't do what he did. Both with teaching Naruto and writing the book and actually physically going to confront. That was a pivotal moment for me in this show, honestly. And I feel like, I just feel like I resonated with that character the most, and I love frogs. So
that's great. What about you, Ashy?
Yeah, I think if I had to give like a definitive, it would probably be Kakashi at the top as well. Outside of Naruto being number one. And like, if you all remember back to like OG Naruto, I did not think Naruto was going to be one of my like favorite characters in the show, which is really funny to think back on now. I mean, he was just a kid.
To hate him.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that change, it started to change very quickly too. Kakashi, for similar reasons to what Lance said. Shikamaru, I've talked about him to death. I think there's not a greater story written in the show than Itachi's. Like, outside of, honestly, even with Naruto, because Naruto is just light, a force of good, and I mean, that's it. But Itachi is like, I have to embrace some amount of this darkness to actually like do the stuff,
Yeah. To be
like
able
to make the future good for Sasuke and for everybody else. So
yeah.
I also just wanted to say, and y'all can chime in on this too, but like side characters who the show just wouldn't have been the show without, I've got to say Guy, and I've got to say Hashirama as well. Like, as soon as he started talking, because like we've heard Hashirama cells, we've heard like regeneration and all this stuff from Tsunade, and then as soon as like Sasuke's talking to all four of the previous Hokage, and he starts talking, I was like, who is this guy? This is one of the best characters on the show.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he's so great.
That was one of my favorite parts of the entire series, honestly, because you're just expecting him to be this just like big, imposing,
stoic, like,
powerful, which is exactly what his little brother is, and I love that. I love that. Like the second is just a complete left brain, analytical, cold, calculated machine of a human, and
kind of
Hashirama,
racist,
maybe so. and Hashirama is just like a complete goof and happens to be unbelievably powerful.
Right.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
There's also like a whole host of like B tier characters, not B in the sense of like ability, but B in the sense that like they're not part of it. Yeah, exactly. They're not part of the main cast. You know, but they're like around.
Yeah.
There's a guy from the Cloud Village, and you guys will know who I'm talking about. I cannot remember his name at the moment, but he uses like the black lightning.
Oh, you're talking
ability.
about Ao. Or not?
It's not Ao. He has a different name.
It's A. His name is A.
Yeah, there we go. Like that kind of character.
It's the same character that whenever they're like, gosh, I don't actually know if it's the same character or not. Is it the same character that he's like, okay, but what if you threw that rock at me, but then it causes a rock slide and then all these people die and it destroys the Hidden Leaf Village? Is that who you're talking about?
Hysterical.
I
think you're talking about somebody else, but that's who I first started thinking of, Logan.
Darui.
I think his ability is really cool, and all of his fight scenes in the war arc were really cool.
I agree with that. There's honestly like, that's what I'm saying is like, picking a top 3 is like, yeah, these are like the guys I resonate with or the girls or whatever, but can I pick a top 30? You know, like, there's so many people that I don't want to count them out, but like, I don't know. That just shows how much the show is like.
Yeah. I mean, for me, Pain would be on there, or Nagato specifically.
Yeah.
Like, for sure.
Yeah. Man.
And Lady Angel, man, there's just so many. That's the thing. Like, I don't really want to know more of their story. It's just like, I wish there was more time within this story with those characters.
Even like Pain's catchphrase, like, this world will know pain. Like, I saw a reel earlier where this guy was like taking, you know, pretty effed up stories in anime and like putting them in the kids section, and like it was like the same reel, rinse and repeated. Like, he just went to Barnes and Noble and just did the same thing like 8 times and posted the reel separately. But like, the top comment on a lot of them was like, these kids will know pain. And I'm like, even pain has a residual effect on culture. You know, like,
I love that
phrase in and of itself is like,
yeah,
oh, it's just cool.
Well, that begins to round us out here for the final episode. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to bring up?
I wanted to answer Lance's question real quick that he texted to us earlier.
Here, I'll read the question real quick.
Yeah, please.
So, 2 questions. What does Naruto mean to you now that you've finished it? And secondly, what does it all mean? Just what is the show about?
I think to answer that, I just wanted to say it's definitely top 2, like, of all time. Again, I got to do a little research on Brotherhood again. But as far as what it means, I think when Hashirama is hanging out with Madara and they're about to go like back to the afterlife, that's what it means to me, because that story is told like over and over and over in different ways throughout it. It's Naruto and Sasuke. There's light in everybody, and like Naruto is one of those agents of like, I'm going to pull it out of you, like whether you even recognize it or not, and whether you want to be in the light, I'm going to bring the light to you.
Yeah. What about you, Zach?
Yeah, I think if I had to give it one word, it would be friendship. That is like the driving theme of camaraderie and, you know, obviously Naruto and Sasuke, you know, that whole thing. It's like that is the main pocket that the show drives around, but it's parallel to a lot of the same stories in different scenarios and contexts, but they're all about living life in a community that is there to support you and push you farther and challenge you and hold you accountable and make you question what you thought you knew. And yeah, that's what I would sum it up as is it's a show about being kind to others in a way that's more than just fleeting. It's like, I'm here for you.
Yeah. I respect that. I like that answer. Yeah, I mean, I think that for me, like what is Naruto like to me? Like, I mean, this has been a life-changing story for me. Obviously, I've seen it multiple times now, enough to want to start a podcast with you guys and share this with friends. Like that's been the whole goal for me. I genuinely do not care about like if this gets a ton of views or if this like does well anywhere else. It has just been me wanting to share this with friends that I like finally found friends that like would take the time, because it's a huge undertaking. And everybody that I know that has already watched Naruto, when I tell them about this podcast, they're like, man, I love that. Because everybody who's taken the time to watch Naruto understands that it is a big ask to get somebody to do it. But beyond that, to get together, and I say together, we're, recording remotely, but like to get together each week and talk about it it's a huge time commitment, more than just watching it. So, yeah, this specific watch through has been extremely special to me. I have nothing but fond memories to look back on for this. So I absolutely love that. But what is Naruto about? Yeah, I mean, I think that you had said something, Zach, about like, making sure that you get like all perspectives, or like making sure you like understand the story from like more than just like your side. I think that that's a great takeaway from the story. The neck break, that like those moments that I love in stories, like that's why like I don't care about the Saw series at all, but Saw 1, like because of that, will like always, because of the biggest neck break ever, like I'm like, man, I love that movie. So like I'm addicted to that. But I think that Naruto does it in in a rewarding way. In a way that like makes you be like, God, I love this show. Like it makes me like feel good. It makes me want to like reconsider hate. Something that like I like will naturally gravitate towards is like hate. Like I use it so often. Like I hate that. I hate this. And I think that Naruto as a character, but as a show, more importantly, teaches you to not be that way. So that's the most introspective I can be about Naruto. But yeah, I absolutely love it. I've got something stuck in my eye. I swear I'm not crying. But yeah, Lance, what about you? I forgot we've got our fourth member here tonight.
Yeah, I'll keep it fairly brief because it'd be hard to say anything other than what you guys have already said. But the show does mean friendship to me too, and I think both in the sense of like the show, or the elements of friendship in the show obviously are there, but also like just the way that we've all just been talking about it. You cannot talk about this show with somebody who also loves it and not immediately be their friend. And not everything is like that. Like not everything in media is like that. Like not every TV show does that. It's a different like echelon, I think, of storytelling when you have something that's like transcendent, like The Office, like the fanhood that show has is insane. And when you meet somebody else who shares the passion of it, like you immediately have that bond. I think it's really funny to talk about the show that way because that's what the show's about.
Yeah.
It's like the bond that you cannot see, but like refuses to be severed I think that's it's just beautiful to watch that play out. And for every character in Naruto, it doesn't matter how driven they were. If they weren't driven by the right motivation, they ultimately saw their own demise and their own failure every time from the first episode to the last one. And I love the thread of that Naruto remains consistently himself and sometimes extremely dog-headed to the point of just being an idiot. But he was so driven by the purest motivation that it was contagious, and that by the end of the series, you know, a kid, a dumb, rejected, weird kid who never wanted to be I don't think that Naruto ever wanted to be a leader. I think he wanted to be Hokage because he wanted to be cherished, you know, by his community, and he ultimately saw that come to fruition. Not by ultimately chasing that dream of becoming Hokage, but actually by chasing this loose thread of making sure that his best friend, who eventually rejected him, you know, stayed or came back to the place of the light. I think that's really cool. So I know I said I'd keep it brief, so I'll stop it there. But yeah, I love that it's sort of, it's meta. It's on top of itself. Like the show is about friendship and brotherhood, and it also creates that somehow at the same time, which is wild.
Yeah. And it's funny too, just piggybacking off that, Lance, like we've said this story is one of the greatest told in fictional writing. And it bothers me. I think I've mentioned this a few times and talked to you guys about it privately too. Like, it bothers me that there's like this stigma around animation about like, I'm not going to waste my time watching animation, you know, like, but yeah, you're going to invest time into fictional characters that are real people. It's like you're watching a fictitious person either way. And this story deserves to be seen by a lot more people than it has, and it's super popular. I wish that there was like a break of that, because so many people could benefit from the joy and the lessons learned in this show of, hey, you know, sometimes you just gotta die to yourself and be there for someone else. And yeah, I just wish that it was accepted by more people.
Yeah.
What is the line? Man, this is why Hashirama is so great too. What is the thing he says to Madara? Like, we have to share what's in our heart with each other. All right, now I might cry.
Yeah,
it's too much.
So good. Oh my gosh. Well, I guess that brings us to our last pack opening.
Yes.
And real quick, I know that we shared it whenever we finished OG, and I let you guys watch like half of the video, and we won't watch it right now. I'll just let you guys do it separately, or we can, you know, do it off stream, whatever, together. But I've just sent it in our chat. It's the Road to Naruto remaster that Studio Perrier did last year for the 20th anniversary, I guess it was. So 20th anniversary was for the one shot that Kishimoto did, not 25th.
Oh, yeah.
But it's super cool to see a lot of the scenes that we have seen over the past 2 years remastered for OG, but as well it's just cool. It's cool to see it. So check it out whenever you got some time. Okay, so I'll open these packs without trying to rip apart my microphone.
I'll link to that with the YouTube video and the podcast too.
Yeah, please do. That link that I've sent is from the Studio Perrier like YouTube channel, so that's cool. The official one. Hopefully we get some good cards here on our last pack opening. We'll start out with none other than our boy Suigetsu that we hate, and then
It's not
Kiba
looking
that
great.
we also
Oh my
hate.
gosh.
Yeah, but Minato.
That's a cool one.
Nice.
That's a cool one.
Following up, that is a cool Minato card. Rock Lee. This is
Dig
actually
it.
from
Classic.
the fight in the field against Kimimaro.
Yeah.
Kimimaro.
Wow.
Sorry. And then that guy from the sand. That's our rare. All right, last pack.
Does Lance
Magic.
Does Lance know the name?
Baki.
So annoying.
Last name?
Don't have it.
Less impressive.
It's fair.
Does Jiraiya have a
But fair.
last name?
Man, I hope we get a Jiraiya card in this.
I
Frogtoad.
think technically he does, but I don't.
It's Frogtoad.
I definitely don't know it.
Shizune.
Shizune
Oh, that's a funny one.
with Tauntaun.
Tauntaun.
Hinata.
Hinata, our girl.
This guy from the sand.
My dog. What?
The grandpa.
That's
Right?
stupid. What a stupid character.
He's
to put on
like-
a card.
Gar.
Hey, that one's cool.
Badass.
And then our
Free
very last
Mein
card
Kampf.
ever. Do you guys want to place a guess on who
Yeah,
it
we
is?
gotta
Did you say?
guess.
Did you? Hold on. Zach just said. He said pre-Mein Kampf about Gaara.
Oh my god.
That's
Just
good.
marches around everywhere in Boruto or what?
All right. Show the
That's
card, Logan.
Wait, we got to guess, right?
Gotta guess.
I'm gonna guess.
I'll tell you this, it's an OG character.
Oh, no.
Okay. Let's go. Jirobo.
Let's go Zabuza.
I was about to guess Zabuza, so I'm going to guess who was Zabuza's
Haku.
Haku. Yeah.
I would have literally taken any of those.
Yo.
Very last card is Sakura.
That's
just
pretty fitting.
standing there, which is so fitting. Just standing there.
That makes me so mad.
There she is. She's just around.
Oh, jeez.
Man, that means we got
OG.
our polls like too early. But oh well. It was still fun. We managed to make Connor's card donations last basically the entire series.
That's crazy.
I love
Yeah.
that.
A lot of cards.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
it's been a lot.
Connor.
Yeah.
Thank you, Connor.
Thank
Getting
you
married
guys
is
for
pretty-
letting me periodically be a guest on this.
For sure.
It's been really fun.
Sure, man.
You've been the honorable guest.
I love it.
You and Jack Kirby. We just
Bro.
talk about him.
That dude is from another planet. I don't know how
one
he knows all
day-
the things he knows.
One day for real, I need him to just email us or something, and we'll do some follow up in like a couple months and just have him on and be like, how do you know all this?
Yeah. Well, who's your source?
Like,
Yeah.
if you were making it all up, we are all 1,000% convinced.
So
100%.
crazy, man.
But I know he's not.
I think it's Kishimoto himself.
responding in
No.
English.
I mean, yeah.
Talk about a neck break of a story. I mean, that would be wild.
He's like, man, I really like Kishimoto, but like, why did he? And he's over here like, good thoughts.
He even said in a comment like Kishimoto can't write women, so that would be, very self-reflective. My favorite thing about Jack Kirby is no punctuation ever.
But
Strong-
you still know where the breaks are.
yeah, somehow. It's
Somehow.
incredible.
Oh, what a guy or
That is
girl.
a very
We don't
Japanese thing. They'll just type all their like hiragana or kanji or whatever they're using, and there's just like not a lot of punctuation unless they're like making a hard stop for a period, and their periods are always like a open circle. Or
So it could be translated from Japanese in Google.
Yeah, could be.
Huh.
Kishimoto, I'm holding out.
All right.
Well,
All right.
if there is nothing else,
We'll be right back.
In a year.
Do y'all remember when Shizune comes in and Tauntaun says oink oink and Kakashi says oink oink indeed?
I honestly don't. I wish I did.
It's in 499. Oh my god.
Man,
it's about as good as What a Barrier.
What a barrier.
Oink oink indeed.
Really quick, one final thought. I thought about this earlier and I can't remember what made me think of it, but a very underrated fight. I think from Naruto, like from the entire whole thing, super underrated fight is Conan fighting Toby with his mask on, like over the water and paper bombs and all that, dude. And nobody really ever talks about like how close like she actually came to killing him. Like he had to pull a Izanami or Izanagi, whichever one it was called, to get at it. Like that fight was super underrated. I think it just happened at a really weird time in the show, and it just kind of like gets thrown in, and it's like 10 minutes long of like a whole episode. But that's one that I go back and watch that one every now and again just for fun. Like it's just so good.
She really is one of my favorite like female characters on the show. But
I do think she was one of the best ones.
We get like 7 total episodes with her in it at all, and it's for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah. Anyways, that was a last thought I had.
Love it.
Well, friends, this has been an absolute treasure of a podcast.
Believe it.
And for those listening right now, watching, we'll be back. It'll be some time. I'm about to have a baby. I'm not pregnant. My wife is pregnant, but
respect.
We are pregnant. But yeah, we'll be back. We'll cover something. We'll either cover Brotherhood or we'll cover something else that's coming out or something else. But this is definitely not the end, and we'll see you in the future. And we may even be doing some Naruto episodes concerning some Boruto stuff or whatever. So yeah, just keep an eye out for all that. It's not what's the saying? It's not goodbye. It's see you later.
Yeah. Don't wait, what is it? Don't be sad that it's over. Be glad that it happened.
Unless it's a Sabrina Carpenter song where it's the opposite.
There you go.
We might return, but don't count on it. Is that right?
Very good.
I love you guys.
Love y'all.
Believe it.
He glitched, chat.
Did I glitch right when I said it?
I love that happened. What a great.
I tried to say believe it. Oh my goodness. All right.
Sad times at the El Royale.
We can't stop it because then it's over. We have to keep recording forever.
I'll see you on Fortnite. I'm going to go jump in the lobby.
Okay. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.